Hi, my name is Mike Tran, and welcome to this week's webcast. This is our REDCap training topics, and today's March 23rd, 2016. As we continue to use REDCap to explore ways to make it more productive for us, we find ourselves lost in the basics sometimes, which is extremely important for a project's health and integrity. This video should be used as a guide, which includes suggestions to improve your REDCap knowledge so that you can prevent issues in your projects. Hopefully it helps. So today we're just going to go over a list of to-dos, basically the do's and do-nots of a REDCap project, or I guess the project in general, from creating it to archiving it. So once you complete the research, etc. The list we have is data loss, data and data loss, logging, utilizing data quality modules, customizations, and user rights. Just a quick overview of that real quick. But let's start with data and data loss. It's important that when you're creating a REDCap project and you're starting with your first form or instrument, it's recommended that you plan it out carefully, particularly naming variables that make sense, and maybe recommended to turn off the automatic naming of a variable. So let's go ahead and see how that plays. Let's see here. If we go to this project here, particularly the training survey project we have that we always show and use, if you go to a particular instrument and you notice that obviously the designer screen is up, you can add a new field. You click on that in any text box or whatnot. You start naming your variables, or your label actually first. Let's just say first name. Now I have it off already, but a lot of times users have this enabled, the auto naming to the field label. If you enable that, then it automatically names for you. But sometimes it's not very clear in the label. You can have first name test. Now, okay, you can see how it would automatically append the or add the field name for you automatically, which could most of the time create issues having long name or automatic name that you didn't intend. So just be clear on that. I would recommend turning it off, and so that you have a little bit more granularity, but a little bit more hand holding, but it actually works well and then so. Second item is extremely important, is to not collect real data in development mode. So since we're in development mode, it's just for example here, you would not collect real data in development mode. Development mode means your development or in testing phase, where you designing and still working the kinks of a project. So definitely not collect data in development mode. And the reason for that is because if you had to make some changes in your project, and you can go, we'll have a bullet item on this, but potentially you will have data loss if you change a variable name or some other fields, which could affect your project and your data later on. Alright, so important not to change variable names once you start collecting data, as this leads to data loss. So basically, if you're collecting data in development mode, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you are, you should not change your variable names, because then that leads to data loss. So for example, we have subject ID, first name, last name, and email. And we have a bunch of records. We have 16 records with all these names and whatnot. And let's just take a look at the record number 1. First name was Michael and last name is Jordan. Now, let's say that we change to fit the scenario. We change the variable name, and we're in development mode. No one's actually, REDCap admins would not get a notice that you're requesting change. So changes would take effect immediately, which is the sometimes could be an issue here, but obviously for convenience sake, a lot of people do leave it in development, which we don't recommend. That's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot. So here we go. We let's just say first name, we didn't like that, and we wanted to have an underscore. For whatever reason, we thought maybe the statistician wants underscore for the name. So we save, go back, say, okay, well, we just did a minor little change to the project, to the instrument. It shouldn't be an issue, right? That's incorrect because you basically modified all first name. You basically orphaned all your data for the field first name. Previously first name, now it's as you can see, it's gone. Where's my data? Where's the Michael? So it's extremely important that you do not change the name once you start collecting data, whether it be in production or development mode. But if you need to and you have to change it, that's okay. Just make sure that you know what's at stake here. You need to make sure that you know what's being changed and how it affects your data. So I wouldn't just change a variable name just because it doesn't look good or whatever once you start collecting data. Obviously we went over number 1 and number 2 is that you need to have good variable names already, so it would have prevented this issue, right? Okay, so now we go back and fix this field here. The data should come back, and this comes a couple bullet points afterwards, but this is a way to retrieve your orphan data. So we go back to record 1 again. As you see, Mike goes back. So it's a little trick, but obviously we don't want to go to this point. Okay, next item. I think I've said important not to remove or delete variables after you collected data, as this leads to data loss. But another important point is that your branching logic, obviously data is going to be missing, right? It's going to disappear, etc., as you've seen. But another annoying thing is that your branching logic, let's say you branched it so that you have an email or a name that's some text, but now it's gone, and so all your branching, all that work that you've put into the project is now gone, because now you're going to go back and fix all the branching logic. So just be careful about variable changes and whatnot, because it has a tremendous effect on your project. So, all right. So it's recommended that you collect data in production mode, whereby if requiring some changes, REDCap admins like Shippy, Tyler, and I can go into the approval system and just check to make sure that it doesn't affect your project. Because if it does affect your project, we can email you and let you know of all the records and items that it's affecting, and so that maybe we can either have another field or make some changes that isn't so detrimental to your project. All right, so let's move on to additional customizations area, where I think a lot of users sometimes are not utilizing it enough. So I'd like to kind of point this out a little bit more. But in any project, you want to customize your display of records a little bit more to make it easier for you to find your data or your records. So we go to your project setup screen on the section where it says enable optional modules and customizations. Under that, click on add additional changes, which is additional changes or customizations. You want to, first of all, set a custom record label. You noticed how my last name and first name appeared on when I had to drop down the record. Normally it would just be number like this. It wouldn't have anything. However, because I've added the labels to the record, it made a little bit more sense for me when I just had a drop down, which helped me locate the record I was looking for. And you can kind of work with the variables and fields that you have to kind of make it display how you like. But again, it's a good way to kind of sort or store your data, etc. So it's easy to locate the record once you add this stuff in. And this is basically a bracket in the variable name, separated by comma, or you can just separate by any other character you feel that is appropriate. So if we make that change, we go back here, you can see the dash and the colon affecting the record display. All right, so yeah, that's another just quick item. Okay, so the next quick item for additional customizations is that I definitely recommend you guys to enable this little piece right here. It says require a reason when making changes to existing records. The good thing about that is that if your data is important, I recommend turning this on. Obviously, I think most data is going to be important for you since you're the project owner or maintainer of the project. If you happen to change, the field name of first name, why did you change it to, Bob instead of Mary? You got to give some reasons, or something more. Maybe the glucose level or something like that. That is just a 1 to a 0.1 difference or whatever. It could have a detrimental effect to your project or data. So definitely turn that on. But just look at the overall options or customizations you have in here and see if it works for your project. If not, leave it alone. But it's just another place to check things out. All right. Well, let's go to other functionalities. Okay, so another recommendation is that when you complete with your project, what you should definitely do is archive your project and not delete it or some other option. Archiving a project can bring it back to life after a while. If you decide maybe you want to look at the data, now that we have the ability to kind of organize your projects. As you can see, because we're using the new version of REDCap, you can organize your projects in a way that's more pleasing. So you can see that. So now it's very tidy. So recommend doing that. What you want to do is use that to your advantage, and you don't have to remove projects or anything like that. Just archive it so that you have a trail of your project. If you remove your project, all the logs and data and information that goes with it is gone. So I recommend just keeping it to archive mode. Keeping archive is probably the way to go for most projects. So, all right, another item would be to alpha, beta, end-to-end test the project. So before moving into production, definitely test your project out. Have multiple users or people access the project. If it's a survey, have multiple users take the survey. Test the emails out if it works properly. Test the email groups, or if it's an open survey, just whatever ways that to verify your project and make it smoother on the once you actually collect real data from users. So, and if you sometimes need assistance from us, let us know. Maybe just give us a call to give you a quick check on certain projects. we're definitely willing to help on that front. That makes us well, that provides us with in the future. We don't have to support you as much because you've actually gone to us and asked questions that alleviates the support for later if you had some issues down the road. Okay. Anyways, let me see. The next item is it's basically you know, when you're working on a research project or a lab project, you know, you're going to have to analyze or look at the data somehow after the fact that you collect the data or complete the project. So we want you to pair with statisticians early in the project planning phase and also in the middle design phase, because a lot of times those are the people that will be viewing and working with your data. So they should have a say in it, and they should be the one that maybe even dictates how it should structure, whether it be longitudinal, you know, how will they analyze the data and the type of data that's collecting and whatnot, because they're going to be ultimately the one that you know, work with the data all day long. So I think pairing with them early on is important. So and final note on data and data losses, to back up the data dictionary, back up the records you have. If you are going to in production, make sure you back up your data dictionary. If you collected data before you make any major changes, let's say you collect 1,000 records and all of a sudden you decide, hey, my trend was correct. Let's make this thing, let's make this project a production mode project. Well, before you make even that change, make sure you save your records and whatnot, save your data dictionary, because, for example, in this project, it's development mode, but let's say that we wanted to go production. Okay, agree to that. You notice that you have this option here is in red. It says delete all data, basically all records in your project. You probably want to say no, because you've already collected 1,000 records, you know, and whether it be all good records, all clean records or not, you still want to keep it. So uncheck that, very important, then move to production, right? So because if you check that, then all your data and whatnot's going to be cleaned off, and then you're going to start with nothing, and you're wondering why you know, your data's not there. So all right, so let's go into logging. Logging is an important piece of REDCap. It's an important module that assists maintainers of REDCap projects, especially project owners, and for administrators as well. Sometimes we have to look at your log to decipher what happened, what's going on with your project, and even you know, reverse engineer and recover some data if necessary. But again, it's extremely useful, and you can use this yourself, obviously, for this project here. Let's just, for example, you see all these events happening. So let's just say that if a person a team member had accidentally removed a record, that we can recover it by reverse engineering the log. So you see how the date of birth is this. So we know that date of birth for this record here, record 20, has been updated, but if it's been removed and we need to know what the date of birth was for this record, well, here it is. We can just put that information back in, and you know, that should resolve that. So again, you know, you can probably have more scenarios where you can use it more, but obviously it's a good use of information here. You can actually even download the whole log to Excel and just look at it and filter and search as you need. So all right, so the next item here is utilizing data quality module. All right, scenario where we had previously is that you know, you've a certain project has a lot of calculated fields, and as you know, calculated fields are displayed real time. However, they are not saved to the database. So good. Look at this form to see if we have any calculated fields in here. Okay, we do have age. So let's do a quick demo on this thing real quick. So we add a new record here. So age, let's just do, okay, 40. So you notice you get an immediate output, 40.03, etc. And this thing is here as well. But this is not necessarily saved to the database. So a lot of times, once you export the data, for whatever reason, you won't have this attached to the data. But let's just say that you have this and you save it, which is great, and you have the data. However, what happens when it's changed? That's the problem. See, that's the problem here, is that you go back, you're thinking, okay, well, I need to change the day. The person's date of birth is actually the 1978 on the 22nd. Okay, he's 38 now. But when, doesn't matter basically. It's not saved to the database, so when you export this data, it's not going to take any change. Now, if you import data, again, it's not going to take the effect, because only these values will be updated and not this value, because it's dependent on these two values here. But this here is just as display for you, and basically it's not saved to the database. So that's our issue. And let's say you have 1,000 records. Would you go into each record and update and do the hit and save to the interface? Save, continue. What are we doing here? So that would take a lot of time, right? So what we want to do is that we want to use the data quality tool or module. But anyways, it's rule H, incorrect values for calculated fields. If you click on that rule, run it, execute it, you come back with 8, because there's 8 calculated fields that's incomplete. So you click on that link that says view. You can hit this button that says fix calc now. Run that, and it should save all the data for you. So for example, we have all these records here. If you had made some changes and whatnot, and you imported a lot of records or data into this project, then basically it will append and save all the information, this information here, to the database. So, okay, great. Next item is customizations that see here, customizations that help. Basically, I think I went over that a bit with the customizations wise. You find yourself with a lot of records. Definitely, use the custom record labels to help you find the records easier. Next item is user rights. This is an extremely important topic here, because user rights, this provides access to the project and access to the data. So the project owner or admin of the project needs to take care of this very wisely, I guess. All right, so assign user rights using the person's EID, at least for VCU, and not the email, and do not guess, basically. So for example, my EID is Trampio, but my name is Michael Tran, and if a person assumes it's going to be mtran and add it and just add user, that is an incorrect way to do it. You need to know what the EID is exactly, and EID is not an email, so it wouldn't be mtran@vcu.edu either. So that's incorrect. You notice how I could just add these users in, and it doesn't say that's incorrect, or it doesn't say that it's improper, etc. It just adds it in. So that's one of the pitfalls of this user rights thing, is that you need to be on top of it. You need to know what the proper EID is. A lot of times users are complaining that they've added the person or the EID, and but the result is that the end user does not have access or can't see the project, or can't get to a certain place, etc. Well, they haven't added the correct EID. So recommended, pair with the person, email the person directly, and get the EID from the user, and do not assume. So, and another thing that is extremely important to kind of continue with this incorrect adding of an EID is that you need to maintain the EIDs if it's there and if it's not used, and you should basically remove it. So this is improper right here. Definitely remove it. Just it's gonna make your life easier later down the road, because you know who's in it or not, as well as this username here, supposedly mtran. He doesn't exist in the system, but for now, right? But later, an mtran person EID could be real, because I know Milo Tran, or whatever mtran person joins the VCU, and now the person's real, but automatically are given access to the project, which is improper, which is a data integrity, not integrity, but data or project security issue. So definitely remove and do not include any users that are not supposed to be on the project, whether it be fake or improper for whatever reason. Just take that username out for future. I guess having less headaches on that front. And that's pretty much wraps up the tutorial today. This I think it's a fairly lengthy topic. However, I think it's important that everyone properly use REDCap, but also protect themselves from data leaks or security issues, and also just a couple items to help them out throughout the project. Hopefully you run into some varying issues, but email us and we should be able to assist you and maybe recommend some options for you to go to improve your project and improve your data or whatever issue you have. Our email is redcap@vcu.edu. Please email us if you have any questions. Also email us if you have any comments. Comment on the YouTube channel, and we should be posting this video up shortly. Again, the REDCap training topics or webcast is a weekly event from 10:30 to 11 o'clock, and we will be posting the new GoToMeeting link soon, so look forward to that. And that's it, so tune out. Thank you.